It's hard to realize, but Betty White passed away on New Year's Eve, regrettably just a few months short of turning 100. It's certainly reasonable to say that we were all devastated, but at least her amazing body of work will always be there for us to admire and help us keep her in our hearts forever. The Golden Girls' illustrious career, which has included hundreds of parts, actually dates back to the early days of television. More times than we can count, she's made us chuckle. Fans of the bold and the beautiful, however, were shocked when she evoked a brand new sensation in us on this day 16 years ago. Simmering rage. White made her acting debut as Ann Douglas, Stephanie and Pam's mother, who is a nightmare, on December 1st, 2006. When she initially appeared all those years ago, the former Sue Ann Nivens was little more than a tease, a haughty, slightly sinister woman reading to herself. We didn't meet Ann until later in the week, and, as a credit to White's acting skills, we kind of wish we hadn't. When Stephanie ultimately made the decision to address her domineering, irate nature, her fundamental Stephaniness, if you will, she started down the path to becoming Betty White. As soon as she began seeing Taylor for therapy, she confessed that her mother had done nothing while her father had tortured her. Anne wasn't dead yet, but John Douglas was. Just 30 years had passed since Stephanie last spoke to her. Taylor encouraged Stephanie to confront her mother, believing that it was the only way to proceed, rather than wasting time acting as a therapist and talking through this realization. Stephanie then traveled to Chicago with Eric in tow and carried out her plan. Here comes Anne, an elderly socialite who regarded Pam, the woman who looked after her, more like a servant than a daughter. Despite being initially delighted to see Stephanie after 30 years away, Anne changed into a cornered beast once her firstborn attempted to discuss her trauma. And that's when White really stepped up her game to prove to us why she's such a legend. Anne's expression alternated between obstinate confusion over the accusations she refused to consider and the seething rage of someone who understood exactly how wrong they were and disliked being called out on it as Stephanie pushed and pushed. And to make matters worse, Anne displayed her viciousness by alternating between victim blaming and a denial that bordered on gaslighting. But when she didn't just tell Stephanie that it was her responsibility for being mistreated. Instead, she used it to undermine every part of her daughter's life. She attacked Stephanie's tendency toward meddling, her erratic relationship with Eric, and even her issues with her kids. We were prepared to despise Anne as much as Stephanie by the time Eric had had it and started attacking her, but we were unable to fully commit. Under the obstinate defense and charges, there was still a weakness. Although Anne's answer was horrific, White didn't lose sight of her humanity. We were starving by the time Stephanie and Eric left. And we did, thank goodness. An actor of White's stature playing such a significant role on the program could have easily been cast as little more than, albeit fantastic, stunt casting. But as soon as White arrived on our screens, she captivated us and we couldn't stop watching. That Christmas, White unexpectedly apologized to Anne and finally set the family on the path to reconciliation. Until 2009, she kept making random appearances but never quite managed to nail down the loving mother part. But by that point, she and both daughters had reconciled, and Anne's story was over. As White gave bold and beautiful fans one final incredible performance, she passed away on the beach with Stephanie and Pam by her side.